Hi, I'm Dominic Green, the maker from Soap Up Soaps, and today I'm going to make a Christmas soap. I have 400 grams of transparent glycerin soap and another 400 grams and 600 grams of white glycerin soap. And I'm using red and green to color the two glycerin soaps, and I'm using gingerbread fragrance oil to scent it Christmassy. And I'm using white biodegradable glitter for the white, and red mica and green mica for the two transparent soaps, and white or silver white mica to color the white one a bit. Alright, let's heat it up. Alright, I heated up all of the soap bases. All of this here is melt and pour soap, which means you just cut it and heat it up and you can use it. And also you can use it right until the soap is cold and one block. You don't have to let it sit like cold processed soap, and that's the main reason why I'm doing this version here. Alright, now I mix the colors in. I do red and green, and I leave this one white, so I put that to the side, and I put that to the side. Alright, oops. Okay. That was only a few drops, and for me that's enough. For the color and for some shimmer and funk, you add mica powder. You can add that right to the soap. You can also dissolve it first in glycerin or alcohol or water, but you can also just put it right in and it dissolves after stirring. When you get too many air bubbles, you just use alcohol, 90% or 99%, and it makes the bubbles disappear. So we put that to, no, first we add the gingerbread scent. This is fragrance oil. This here now was 10 drops. And it smells strong enough. Okay, now we put it to the side and use the green one. When that skin builds on top, you can either push it back and take it off, or when the soap is still hot enough like here, you can push it down and stir it and it will melt again. Alright, that's right, just green. Close it. And some gingerbread. And some green mica powder. Right. I dump it all in. Alright. You can get these mica, these here are from eBay. They come from China. It's a set of 12 or 14 colors, and it was only €2.30 or whatever. Takes 2 months until they arrive, but if you can wait, that's definitely a more affordable option than if you choose on wherever else. Alright, You see it's getting thicker already. That means it wasn't as hot as the red one. And when that happens, what happens is that you can't pour it properly anymore. So you just have a lump of green, which isn't too pretty. So you just put it back in the microwave and heat it up for a few more seconds, and it goes liquid, and then you can stir it better, and then you can use it again. And in the meantime, we mix the white one where there is a skin on top too, but this is definitely hot enough. Also, if you use a glass container like here, like those Pyrex containers, the soap stays hotter for longer because the walls keep the heat more than the plastic, but I only have one. Alright, so we add the scent. And the glitter. This is biodegradable glitter. I use it all because it doesn't come out very strong, so I just dump that in. And for more funk, more mica. Alright, stir that. Oops, well, that was a lot. Just more sparkles. Now I stir it all, that it's all complete mixed. There are no little balls of mica or glitter left. And when it's all combined, we can start pouring it in the loaf. When everything is mixed and combined, the temperature of before you pour is important, and it should definitely not be above 135 degrees Fahrenheit, which is around, what, now we have 133, and in degrees that's 56. So everything 135 will definitely either melt together, in color it will combine, so you have one probably ugly color at the end, or if you have stuff that you put in the soap, it might melt that. The perfect pouring temperature is around 130. It depends on the brand of the soap too. As soon as that skin builds on top, that is a sign, if you don't have a thermometer, to you pull it back and you pour the soap out. But better option is definitely to get one of these, even better, infrared thermometers, because then you don't have the problem that I have here. And you don't have to clean the thermometer, but on the other hand, the transparent soap, you can just put it in. My loaf holds 1.4 kilos of soap. I put it on a little slant, so it goes in better. Soap. You also need the rubbing alcohol, and you use it in between every layer, and before and after, and basically as often as you can think about it, because the alcohol will make the different layers combine to stick together, and also it gives it a pretty cool finish, and it looks very smooth and clean. Alright, so I spritz that in, and I start with white, and I just pour a thin layer. And you see these little bubbles here on the soap. I hope. Alright, if you go on with the alcohol, if you're quick enough, you destroy the bubbles, and if you pour the next color on top, it will hopefully, yeah, exactly, that's what I was hoping for. Alright. Now we'll wait a little bit until it sets just a little bit, because the green was the hottest. It was 134 degrees when I measured it before. The red already has multiple layers on top, so I definitely have to reheat that. I do more alcohol and pour that on top. And more alcohol. I add more white. And more green. More red. Oops. More white. I waited a few minutes now. It is probably not even hard on top. Let's have a look. No, there is a very, very thin skin. That means whatever I pour in now doesn't sink all the way to the ground, except if you pour it from like up here. But if you do it low enough at the ground, it should stay on top, at least on the top surface, hopefully. Let's have a look. Every time you don't remember if you did alcohol, do it again. Because if you don't do it and it separates, that really sucks. Alright, the white stays pretty much on top, which is exactly what I wanted. Alright. If you now have one soap, one color that is a little bit hotter, it would destroy the layer that you did now. That's exactly what the green is doing, and this makes sometimes an unexpected cool pattern. Some more white. Right, I reheated this here, so when the temperature is hotter than the maximum 135, what will happen is that it goes through the layers that you did before. And when you want that, that creates a cool effect. When you don't want that, you will basically ruin your design. Alright. Alright. And now I take it off that lid here and put it down. Okay, nothing happened. Pour more white. Pour more red. One really cool thing about melt and pour, especially the transparent one, is when it cools down in the container you used, you can peel it right off. And when it's completely cold, you can even take this out as one whole piece. This here is still liquidy on the bottom, but cleaning the containers is very, very easy, and it works best on glass. Now I do the finish. Still liquid on top. Spray alcohol. I have most what I have left is white, and I have a lot of green and not so much red, so I used the red last. And I just pour it in now. See what happens. Alright. Oops. Spritz. The green. Whoa. Spritz. And I want to add the red too. Wow, it's almost overflowing. Alright. I sprinkled some mica of all of the colors I also used in the soap. So there is the red, I like using a lot, and the white. And the green, that's empty, okay. Different green. Alright, use the back of the spoon. Alright. And now, when you put the alcohol on it, it mixes in, it melts. Well, it doesn't melt, but it mixes in. And now it gives it a bit of a shimmery effect. Last layer should be alcohol anyway. So if you don't put mica on top, you get a shiny, clear finish. So this is finished now. I let it sit for a day, and tomorrow we unpack it and unwrap it and cut it, and then we'll see what it looks on the inside. It is now about 24 hours and I unpack this Christmas soap here from yesterday. Let's have a look how it turned out. Oops. Well, that's interesting. It looks pretty cool. Alright. So first I go around the edge here and with a knife and cut off when I poured it in what was too much. And then we cut it. And it was very easy. I cut the soap in 2.5 centimeter pieces. The whole loaf is 26 centimeters long, so I get 10 plus a bit on the side that I always keep for home. And I use a very normal ruler. You don't need fancy equipment. I mean, I don't have it. I had a soap cutter that came with the loaf that I have as a set, and I sold the cutter after one time using because it just didn't do much for me. Alright, so I start cutting here. When the edges look good, I don't cut it off. When the outside of the first piece doesn't have the same pattern as the inside, I cut a very thin slice off so it all looks the same. In this case I start cutting here. So I make a very short line every 2.5 centimeters, and then I go with a big knife and just try to be as straight as possible. Alright. This is a very normal kitchen knife. The only thing that is important is that it's flat here, so that it doesn't have that pattern like a bread cutting knife, because you would see that in the soap. And then you just hold it, and as soon as the knife is set where you want it, if you look from the top down on the knife and press down without looking at a weird angle, you almost always get straight bars. Let's have a look. There you go. Well, let's have a look at the other ones. Alright. Clearly, what happened is that the bottom mixed okay, like good enough, nice enough to say that was on purpose. What happened at the top is clearly that the soap was too hot when I poured it in, and it just made that the colors mixed together. And well, you don't have 3 separate colors anymore. Now you have a nice mix of, yeah, right, a bit foggy. Let's have a look at the other ones. The more I look at it, the more I like it. It creates a pretty, it creates a pretty interesting design that I didn't plan, but it still looks pretty amazing. All right, the back looks very different to the front. So this is definitely not the same pattern on each bar. It's like Santa left to bring parcels and then he came into a snowstorm. Snowstorm ate Santa. This last bit looks pretty cool. That's the one I keep for ourselves at home. So clearly, what happened, this one looks cool too. The bottom was okay, as you can see here. But even there, I think it was too, either it was still too hot, which I think would happen, or because I didn't stir it at all, I didn't go in with a spoon or stick and made a pattern. So it was really just from pouring, and I believe that the temperature was a bit too warm, especially at the top, and that created that little bit of mud color. Alright, here you see them cut in pieces. It is a very interesting effect that I didn't plan. I did not know what would come out, where normally I have a bit of an idea. This time I just thought, let's see what happens. I like it. I like the colors that happen at the top from melting together. I like this bit here too, that looks cool. The white, the shimmer comes out pretty good. You can see it a bit here. It looks sparkly. It definitely looks like a winter soap, a Christmas soap. It smells good too. Gingerbread, it's not too strong. I prefer to add a little bit less of if it's a fragrance oil. But I'm surprised what came out, but I'm pretty happy with the results and I think it looks good. Let me know what you think about the soap, and you can get it in my Etsy store at Mrs. Green Market, and I see you in the next video. Bye bye.